Well, I'm glad that you're able to see this video today. The purpose of this math lesson is to talk about angle measurements for triangles and parallel lines and transversals and how to figure out those missing angles. So I'm going to start out by sharing with you some examples of triangles and how to find those angle measurements. So over here with question 1, you can see that I have two angles. I have angle 65 and angle 57. But what I want to find out is this missing angle. And the best way to do this is to remember that all the angles in a triangle, the sum of all angles in a triangle, always equal 180. So what you could do with question 1 is simply add 65 plus 57, and you would get 122. Now, when you have 122, you simply subtract that from 180 to get the missing angle, because I know that all the angles add together equal 180. So 180 minus 122 is going to equal 58. So I'm going to go over here and say that this angle right here that's missing, that equals 58 degrees. Now, a way that you could check your work is just simply add 58 plus 57 plus 65. The sum of all of those three angles have to equal 180. Now, in question 2 here, you have one angle that kind of is given away because it has this square. Remember, the square means that it's a right triangle, that equals 90 degrees. So again, if I use my method for 180, I would do 40 plus 90 is 130. Then I know that this angle has to be whatever amount is missing from 180. So I say 180 minus 130, those are the other two, the sum of the other two angles, and that equals 50 degrees. So again, this missing angle right here, it has to equal 50. So you could check your work, go back, and 50 plus 90 plus 40, does that equal 180? Yes, it does. Okay, so let's scroll down a little bit and take a look. Welcome, good to have you. Let's take a look at triangle 3. So we're reviewing again that these three angles together equal 180. So if I had 130 plus 20, I know that would equal 150. But this angle right here is the sum of all three. That has to be 180. So then my next step is I would take 180 and I would subtract 150, and that would equal 30 degrees. So I know this angle here has to be 30. So again, if you want to check your work, you'd say 30 plus 130 plus 20. All of that has to equal 180 degrees. So for number 4 here, my first step, I would add the two angles that I have. So I would say, okay, what's 85 plus 50? Okay, and I know that's 135. So this angle right here is going to be 180 minus that. And I know 180 minus 35 is 45. So this 45-degree angle goes right there. So if I want to check it, I would say, is 45 plus 85 plus 50 180? And you say, yes, it is. Okay, let's scroll down a little bit. Okay, these are a little bit more interesting. So this is where you've got exterior angles. So to solve for these kinds of angles, you have to remember that a straight line, just like a triangle, also equals 180. So I would work from the outside inside to get to this missing angle right here. So this is the angle that's exterior of the triangle, this angle right here. So I would figure out what this is right here by doing 137 minus 180. And I'm subtracting 180 because this straight line right here is 180 degrees. So if I take 180 minus 137, I would get 43. And 43 goes inside here. This is 43 in there. So then if I wanted to find out what this angle is to eventually work my way out, I would take 143 plus 102, or I'm sorry, 43 plus 102, and I would get 145. And then to solve for this angle, I would take 180 minus 145 and get 35. And so 35 is the angle right here. This is this angle right here, okay? But that's not the one I want. I want this exterior angle. So now I have to take 180 minus 35, and then I get this angle again, which is going to be my 145. So 145 is your actual answer right there that you want. Okay, let's look at number 6. Number 6 has some geometric theorems that we can use. These are called vertical angles. This angle right here, we know, is congruent to this angle right here. So I'm going to write, if this is 35 over here, I'm going to say that this is also 35 over here. And I want to eventually get to this exterior angle out here. So I'm going to work my way in. First thing I'm going to do is 100 plus 35. These are these two angles here. And I get 135. Then my last step, I want to find out what this angle is. So I'm going to do 180 minus 135. And I'm going to get 45. And 45 is right here. This is 45 degrees. But I want this angle out here, so I still have to subtract it one more time. So I'm going to have 180 minus 45, and I'm going to get 135. And that's the answer that I want. That's the angle that's missing right there, 135. Okay, now I know several of you just joined us. Hopefully you can hear me okay. And our goal in this lesson is to review angle measurements in triangles and transverse lines for parallel lines. Remember, a transversal is any line that intersects two lines or more than two lines. But when it intersects parallel lines, it has a lot of congruent angles. Okay, let's look at this measurement here. I want to find this missing angle. So if I do 30 plus 20, I would get 50. If I subtract that from 180, what's left over is 130, and that's right there, this angle. But one of my geometric theorems is that vertical angles are congruent. So if this is 130, then this is also 130 degrees. And that's your solution to number 7. Okay? Let's look at number 8. I've got 60 here and 155 here, but this 155 is an exterior angle. I want to find out the inside of this triangle. So if I took 180 and I subtract 155, then you'd get 25. That goes inside right there, that part. Okay. If I add these two angles, 25 and 60, I can figure out this one. So let me do that over here. I have 60 plus 25 is 85. If I subtract that from 180, I'm going to get another 85. And that is, I'm sorry, I'm going to get 95. 95. And that's going to be my angle right here. This is 95 in here. But I'm trying to solve this one. So I have to subtract again. So I'm going to have 180 minus 95, and then I'm back to my 85. And 85 is going to be the angle that's on the outside that I want right here. That's my final answer, is that 85 right there. Okay, let's look at a few more together. This one. Number 9. So I want to eventually get all the way over here So I'm going to start with the angles that I have here. So the first thing I would do is 40 plus 20. 40 plus 20 is 60. Then I'm subtract from 180. And I get 120. And that goes up here. Now remember my theorem, vertical angles are congruent. These two angles are the same. So if this is 120, then this has to be 120. But I'm trying to get over here. So I'm going to do 120 plus 39. I'm going to get 159 for the sum of these two angles. So if I subtract that from 180, I'm going to get this missing angle. So 180 minus 159 is going to be 21. So this missing angle right here is going to be 21 degrees. Ooh, number 10 is going to take a while. This has got a bunch of measurements. So I've got a triangle here. It's got 65 and 60. So if I add those together, 65 plus 60, I'm going to get 125. But I want to find out what this is. So I'm going to subtract from 180. And I'm going to get 55. So that's the measurement that goes right there. Okay. Now, this whole section right here is going to be 180 because it's a straight line. Okay. So if I did 55 plus 50, I'm going to get 105. That's for this much. But I want to find out this little angle right here. So if I did 180 minus 105, then I'd get 75. That would go right there, 75. But that's not what I want. I want this angle over here. So if I took 75 and add it to 35, then I'd get 110. And then the last thing I would do is I'd subtract that from 180 to get this missing side. The last thing I'd do is 180 minus 110, and I'd get 70. And 70 degrees is finally the missing angle that goes right there. That's my answer for number 10. Let's look at number 11.
I know, teacher.
Okay, this has got a 90-degree angle here. Let's start with this because we have the most angles right here. So I have 84 plus 36. And I'm going to get 120. So if I subtract 180 minus 120, I get 60. And that's for this little angle right here. So I'm going to write 60 in. Now this whole section on the corner is 90. So instead of subtracting from 180, I'm going to do, because these are complementary angles, I'm going to do 90 minus 60, and I'm going to get 30. So this little angle right here, this is 30 degrees in there, because 30 and 60 are complementary. So angles that equal 90 are called complementary angles, and angles that equal 180 are called supplementary angles. So I know all the angles inside of a triangle are supplementary because they equal 180 together. So I'm going to do 86 plus 30, and that's going to equal 116. And then I'm going to subtract that from 180 to find my missing angle. And that is going to equal 54 degrees. That's my missing angle there. Okay, let's take a look at number 12 here. So I have 35 and 23. Let's look at those together. 35 and 23 is going to be 58. And I want to find out what this is so I can eventually work my way to here. So if I have 180 minus 58, I'm going to get 122. And that's going to go right here. That's an obtuse angle because it's more than 90. Remember, I know vertical angles are congruent. So if this is 122, then this has to be 122 in here. I'm going to add these together, 122 and 27. I'm going to get 149. And then I'm going to subtract that from 180 to finally get to my missing angle. So I have 180 minus 149, and I'm going to get 31. And that's the answer that I was after. That goes right there, 31 degrees. Okay, let's scroll down, look at these. Okay, so again, this little square right here means that that's a 90-degree angle. And I want to get to this angle, which is external. It's outside both of these triangles. So I'm going to use what I know first. I know this is 90, right? Okay, and I know if this is 115, this straight line right here is 180. So I'm going to start by subtracting 115 from 180. And I know that that's going to be 65. So this little angle in here is going to be 65 degrees. And I'm going to add these two to find out what this angle is right here. So I have 65 plus 85. That's going to equal 100, let me see, 150. So now if I simply subtract that from 180, I'm going to get this missing angle right here. So 180 minus 150 is 30. That's this angle right here. That's 30. So if I want to find out what this angle is right here, I know this straight line is 180. So if I did 30 plus 90 is 90 plus 30, I'm going to get 120. If I have 180 minus 120, I'm going to get 60. And 60 degrees is this angle right there. So that's 60. But I don't know what these other angles inside the triangle are, and eventually I want to get out to here. So I'm going to look at this straight line right here. So if this is 155, if I have 180 minus 155, I'm going to get 25. So this acute angle right here is going to be 25. So if I add 25 and 60, let's look at that. 60 plus 25 is 85. I want to find this angle. It looks like it's obtuse. I'm going to subtract from 180 minus 85. That's going to be 95. So this angle right here is 95. And then finally, I can get to the one that's missing on the outside. Since this is a straight line's 180. So if I do 180 minus 95, I'm back to my 85. And I know that my missing angle on the outside right here is 85 degrees. That was a long one, wasn't it? Okay, so I have about 10 more minutes left in this lesson, and I want to switch from triangles to transversals. And I want to talk about what a transversal is. A transversal is any line that intersects two other lines. But if a line intersects parallel lines, then that transversal creates a whole bunch of angles that are congruent. Remember, congruent means equal, okay? So here are the parallel lines. This is the transversal because it's intersecting those two parallel lines. Now, one of the things we talked about already was that that vertical angles are congruent. So this angle right here is above this angle right here. So if this is 75, then this is 75. So some of those rules make a lot of this a lot easier to figure out. Okay, let's take a look at another one here. Let's take a look at number 2. If this angle here is 68, it's vertical to this angle. This angle is 68. But that's not the one I wanted. I wanted this one. So if I want to figure out what this angle is this transversal 180? It is. So if I simply take 180 and subtract that 68, then I'm going to get 112. So this angle right here is going to be 112. So if I can check that, 112 plus 68, that equals 180. So that's my answer for that one, 112 degrees. Let's scroll down and take a look at a few more here. Okay. One of the things that you also know is alternate interior angles are congruent and alternate exterior angles are congruent. So this is a vertical angle to here, so this is 55. But what I also want you to see is that this is an alternate interior angle. So I have 55 here. That means that this has to be 55. And if this is 55 over here, then this has to be 55 over here. But I still don't know what this angle is. So I know the transversal is 180, so I'm just going to take 180 minus 55, and I know that's 125. So that's my missing angle, right?
125.
Okay. So if I'm looking at number 4, the first thing I'm going to do is vertical angles. So the vertical angle to 113 is this. So that means this is 113. The alternate interior angles, if this is 113, do you see how this angle right here looks just like this angle right here? They're equal. That's 113. You see how this angle here looks like this one? And these are also vertical angles, so this is 113. I didn't have to subtract anything to figure that out. I just used my geometric theorems and I proved which angle was 113. Okay, let's look at this one. This is your interior alternate angles. So I've got 89 up here. That means that this is 89. It also means this is 89. It also means that this angle right here is 89. So again, for number 5, you don't have to subtract anything. Okay, now for number 6, you're going to have to do a little bit of subtraction. Number 6 is a little bit more tricky. Let's take a look at that. So our vertical angle, if this is 98, then this is 98, right? If this is 98 up here, this is 98 down here. Now notice that these are vertical right here. So if this is 98, then I know
98.
This is 98, yeah. So if you just look at these for a minute and apply those rules, alternate interior angles are congruent, alternate exterior angles are congruent, and vertical angles are congruent. Then these transversals are pretty easy to figure out. They're kind of fun. Okay, so I know this little box right here, that means 90. So this is vertical to this angle, so that's 90.
90.
Now look at your alternate exterior angle. So this angle here is 90, that means this one down here is 90.
90.
If that's 90, then this one over here is 90.
90. The same.
So that's your answer, 90 degrees for that one. Okay, let's look at number 8. Okay, so this is a vertical angle. So if that's 130, then the one right under it has to be 130. Now look at all the angles. You can see that this is obtuse. This angle is more than 90.
More big.
This can't be 130 because that's acute. But if I go up here, this alternate interior angle from here to here, this is also 130. And then look how this angle right here is obtuse. They're vertical. So this is also 130. So your answer for this one is 130. Okay, let's look down at number 9. Okay, so here, this is the vertical angle theorem. This angle right here is above this angle right here. So that's 103. Then this is 103.
103.
For number 10, the vertical angle here, if this is 119, then this is 119. You see how this is obtuse. This is acute, so that's not a match. But if you go down here, this angle is the exact same. It's an alternate interior angle. So this is also 119. And then you've got vertical angles that are congruent. So if this is 119, then the one that you're looking for is also 119. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay. We've got, looks like 1, 2, 3, 4 of you in here today. I see how many of you I can actually see any of you. Let me stop this. Okay, so question for you guys. How are you guys doing? Is everybody healthy? You guys are doing okay?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. And you guys know that Governor Holcomb is going to lift this shelter in place on May 1st. So we just have a couple more days of this. Unfortunately, that doesn't mean that we get to go back to school for Wayne Township. So adult education, we still won't meet for the rest of this academic year. I don't know what it's going to mean for us during the summer, though. You guys know we only have a 3-week summer break. It's possible maybe sometime this summer we'll be back at BDU. We'll be back in the building. I'm not sure yet. But regardless, I'll keep doing Zoom lessons just like this every Monday, every Wednesday at 5 o'clock to 5:30. And I'm working on a YouTube channel where I'm just going to upload all the videos that we've done together. And I'll just have, you know, like a description, like today's would be angle measurements for triangles and transverse line. And then I'll just load all these and you can go back and refer to them. Or if you miss a lesson, you can just click on the YouTube channel and watch whatever you missed. But it's about 5:30 and I'm going to let you guys go. And I hope that you guys have a really safe evening and that all goes well for you. Thanks for coming today, and I'll see you on Wednesday. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you, teacher.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
God bless you.
Bye-bye.
Take care.